Alright, so let's start.
Thank you. First, I'll say, hi everyone, my name is Phyllis Tang and I ran for Vancouver City Council in 2018. And today I'm very honored to be able to participate in additional topics aside from perhaps the consumption site issue. But I do have a question for Henry specifically. I apologize because I had to teach earlier, so I wasn't able to come much earlier. But perhaps you have already addressed this, but I'd love to know, be it with your communication with your particular party or currently, what might be your approach to the consumption site issue once you're elected, or if you would be elected? What's your approach given that you might be aware of a lot of concerns that residents of Richmond have regarding this issue, and what do you plan to do about it with your party?
Stand up or just sit?
It's up to you. I'll stand up.
Thank you so much for the question. That's a really good question to start with. I guess the easiest way to say this is I mentioned earlier, and I do understand everybody has a busy schedule. I have a busy schedule, so totally appreciate that. Is that it's my job to hear people out. It's my job to hear people's voices and bring it to a government that makes government aware of different voices. I mentioned earlier, whenever we see an argument, there tend to be both sides happening at the same time. So it's important for government to have a balanced perspective. But at the same time, we also must understand that we need to listen to the professionals such as doctors, scientists, researchers, to have a more objective approach, to really realizing, asking ourselves, what can we do to ensure that things are being done properly? I heard quite a few individuals before me making comments, and reminding me there were actually a lot of missing information floating around already. And that's also a reminder that it was also our job, and I failed that job, I'll say that. Our public said that I failed that job to help people to have a good, healthy dialogue, to better understand the situation we have on our hands. As I mentioned before, I'm committed. All my constituents guaranteed be able to have our meeting within 2 weeks or 3 weeks, depending on the legislature. We stuck there for like 5 days. I cannot read this bounce back and forth. Virtual, Zoom and Microsoft Teams works great on that part. I do also want to emphasize one very important thing too is, I think I want to echo something, like, especially coming from Councillor Chak, is that when you see a large community coming out expressing unified perspective and say, this is what we're concerned about, it's a good reminder. And I want to say, it's probably a giant, what Dickinson by myself, giant slap across our face to wake up, something you need to pay attention to. And that's why it's important for us to continue to pass the message onwards. But it is also the leadership's job to making sure that we consult different stakeholders. As mentioned, people talk about different consultation. We also need to reach out to professionals. That's the reason why, because we saw the Monday night a really strong showing of community support over that issue, we brought out quickly. The Premier quickly called a meeting to make sure we consult the doctors, experts, and researchers. And the reality is, which reflects the very letter that was presented by Mina Dewar, Richmond has the lowest rate. There's absolutely nothing that triggers us, and we don't even know why it was brought up, and therefore we're going to say no to it, doesn't fit Richmond's needs. I understand there's a certain party who want to say, we're absolutely against it, we're absolutely for it, we're absolutely against it, and people are going to ask, well, if you win the election, we'll bring it back. First of all, we didn't bring it up. We don't even know why you got brought into in the first place. And second thing is, of course, we will continue to work with professionals, doctors, and of course, community members, as people here expressing concern. But you know what? I will resist the temptation. I'm not going to part of it. I will resist temptation. But I do want to say, we want to hear people's voice. We want to hear you talking. And I promise you, if you, any of you, I have a ground floor office. If you want to come to protest in my office and argue about something, give me a heads up. I'll prepare donuts and coffee. Let's have a chit chat. And if you wait your son out there and have a come, if it's cold, come inside. I have a big community space. But really want to make sure your voice are heard. Again, unlike anybody, I want to emphasize that is I cannot promise you result, but I promise you will build healthy, respectful, and dignified dialogue to ensure your voices are heard and ensure that we go through proper process to protect not just the people who are struggling, we also protect the vulnerable individual. We also need to protect the community. That's why conclusion was quickly formed based on a quick discussion among professionals and be able to come out. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you. Thank you.
I want to ask one question. after this motion being passed, I've been writing to a city councillor several letters. My colleagues also have been writing to ask to question me about the foundation of the motion. Like this motion should be widely consulted, but lots of people don't know, right? My colleagues, lots of people don't know. So my question is, when does this consultation conducted? Last for how long? And consult about how many people? Take about how much percentage of the city whole population? You know, if that answer, that figure we want to know, then it indicates the solid condition of this motion. But now it seems like no such solid foundation yet, and social health and some even the city government also saying there's no need, for that. But how come this motion has been brought up so quickly and passed so quickly? What is the foundation? And we want to know the figure. So does the citizen has right to know figure? Thank you.
Okay, so who would like to
You're over the floor to speak.
I think we have 3 levels of government here.
That's why, I mentioned in the beginning that there's a process and there's certain requirements under certain conditions. Okay, to be fair, not every motion would require public consultation over a period of time. There are only certain motions or certain kind of decisions that we have to have public consultation. For example, if there's an application for rezoning, then we're required by law to have public consultation. And if we are moving or we're changing a bylaw or making a new bylaw, again, we have to have a process of required public consultation. And another example is our budget. So after we have a budget proposal, we need to have, I think it's 2 weeks consultation before we finalize it. So for certain kinds of decisions, we have to follow the mandatory consultation requirement. However, the motion that we had in the last 2 weeks, it was not one of those motions that we are mandatory required to do public consultation. So theoretically, the process in the last 2-3 weeks was okay. Isn't violating any requirements. However, I agree with you that for such an important issue, there should be a better consultation process. It might not be required by law, but it should be considered right from the beginning. And that's why during the process, I asked for perhaps we should table the motion that we can get back to the people to have more consultation. And some of my colleagues said that there was a lot of misinformation, and I think this is exactly why we should have a better consultation. We need time to clear up if there was any misinformation, right? So that's why I was against pushing through the motion in a short period of time. You felt that people did not understand the whole issue. Okay, let's give time for additional consultation process so that people get the correct information. They can get the issues being clarified, and at the end, I think we can make better decisions. So I have to say that, at least for myself, it was very unfortunate that this was not being done. Now, as I said, technically there's nothing wrong with the process, but we could have done a better job.
So, a quick question. So why don't you amend the process? This sounds like something that really should have public consultation.
Well, as I said, right, in the process, I proposed to have the motion table at least for 8 weeks. But I was being voted down, right? So
he did make the motion.
yeah, we make the motion.
I was
and
there.
defeated.
Chak, I actually have a question before that. Okay, because on today's event, right? Sorry, I'm also one of the when we get involved in
you're
this,
loud.
right?
It's okay.
is there, like, because none of you have touched base on what we, like as a general public, can do to help you to support those motions out, like, to bring up the attentions. Is there any kind of process throughout, like, say, like the provincial, federal, and the municipal levels, what we can do, like, besides just petitions, like, is there anything that we can do, like, to strengthen, like, and then, like, to support, like, for the motions like we want? Is there anything like that?
Well, for one, I think the cities should have done a better job in terms of making the news about our agenda items be known by the public, right? I think right now we are just doing the minimum. So I know that the city can claim, oh, everything's open because we post the agenda on Friday. 3 days before the meeting. But I think technically, yes, we are being open and transparent. But again, I think we should have done a better job in terms of notifying people of some of the issues that may or that should get people's attention. So I would work on that. And on the other hand, I am also thinking of having a platform of channels of some kind that I can help the public to know what's coming up in City Council. So I'm trying to see what within my capacity what I can do. Now I have to say that unlike the MLAs or the MPs, we do not have assistance. So I do everything by myself, and I hope that through some people volunteering, we can. I can help to spread the information in the community. So
okay, thank you. Let's pass on to the next.
I'm not sure that I'm good.
大家对于那个主体注册屋，我想都有个共识了。但是我现在想问的是，就是说，BC 联合党，问这两位了，当然了啊，李先生和那个吴女士啊，就是说 BC 联合党的提出的袁女士对不对 ？Sorry， 就是提出的这种虚拟的药片这个虚拟计划，就是说对于这个毒品的。就是说，对于没有那个医生或不能进入诊所的这个吸毒者，他提供一种那个阿片类的这个药物。那我就想问一下，这种药物的话，它是不是会比这种注射屋使用起来更携带方便？而且它会不会造成这种黑市对药品的这种买卖更便利了？就是说这个事情的话，毒品注射屋我们现在共识是觉得它是一个失败的计划。那么这种虚拟药片的这个纳税人的钱，然后现在可以说就是说这个那个药保就是全民化了。那么纳税人的钱给这些吸毒者发放这个药片，这种是否合理呢？我就很想对这个非常质疑这个问题。
That's a great question, and I need to restate that there is really an important step for people to go to the rehab. And this is extremely important for our government to not just for the safety injection, but to bring them back to the community. We did have a successful story on the refuge projects that we have done, and unfortunately, there's not being endorsed by the budget and there's not being expanded. But the process would be having the person inside the rehab center to recover. This is what we are proposing. And for example, in the refuge, we do have 160 beds in there for people to go in there, not just the overdose, but also the mental health to rehab. And we see the success in there, and the people in there are actually going back to the community. I think that is extremely important, and I agree with you. We are not just sort of going to dish out the safe drugs again. It's not going to work because we tested already either safe injection or safe drugs. Kevin Falcon already said it. There's no drugs in Richmond if he gets elected as the premier. A lot of you attended the town hall, and he stated very clearly that there's no drugs in Richmond. Thank you.
I also, sorry. So just to address, hello. Hi, just to address but I just want to add on to what Jackie was saying. Our party did say that if we are governing in 90 days, we're going to be getting rid of the decriminalization of the illegal drugs. So that is actually going to be killing most of the, whatever your concerns are.
I think Michelle wants to add something.
Yeah, I just want to quickly add something. Sorry, I have to legs.
Okay.
Sorry. I just want to quickly add something. So next Wednesday, March the 13th, I'm actually having a town hall. And we're bringing in an expert, Dr. Julian Summers. He has spent 20 years, his expertise on drug addiction, homelessness, and mental health. That is his background. The NDP, I'm sorry, I'm bringing in a bit of politics in here for a second, made him destroy his data because it did not match their agenda. So he's going to be speaking about what really needs to be done when it comes to the whole opioid and the drug addiction crisis. He is opposed to safe supply. It doesn't work. There's one of the candidates is a doctor on the island. She had a grade 12 student come up to her and say, I'm addicted to safe supply drugs. He got access to it because an addict sold it to him. And when he said, me and my friends, she asked him, how many of you are addicted to safe supply? This is on Vancouver Island. 30 of his friends, 30 high school kids are addicted to safe supply. It is not working. We need to focus on prevention. We need to focus on treatment. We need to focus on rehabilitation. We need to focus on job training so that they can start working again. And we also need to start working on crime prevention.
Yeah.
And crime prevention also means securing up the courts, making the schools safe, and getting the drug dealers off the streets.
Yes.
So I'm not hearing any of that, and that's what has me angry. So when you want to know about what needs to be done, we need to focus on prevention.
That's right.
Right? And when it comes to treatment, we don't have enough detox centers. So you missed Alex, who was here earlier. He's going to be speaking because he's a successful recovered addict. And he said that the big problem was if you don't have the money, you can't get into these centers for treatment. His parents loved him dearly, and they took a second mortgage out of their house and spent $60,000 to get him back on the road of recovery. Most people don't have that. And when it comes to detox, it's like downstairs is a safe consumption site, safe injection site. Upstairs is your detox. That doesn't work.
And Michelle, sorry to interrupt you
Yes.
because we're running out of
sorry.
time.
Anyways, I just want to say that there are solutions out there, and we need to act on
Okay,
it.
I just want to mention to the audience and the speakers, right? How do you like about the settings that we have today? Like, having the
I have to say you're doing a great job, and thank you, Michelle, for echoing what our leader Kevin Falcon just mentioned in the town hall for the ones who attended. She exactly echoed whatever our leader is saying. The BC United policy. Thank you so much.
Okay, so because I have to maintain the time. However, I just want to let you guys all know, we're gonna be having multiple events like this, and maybe in a bigger scale, so we can actually hope stop people from outside of the door because of fire regulations. So would you guys be interested to participate in the fall events like this? And then we may have topics that we can debate on, and then you guys will be prepared for that.
Yes.
You know what, I try my best not to be competitive policy stuff, but it's really getting ridiculous. First of all, it's fetal alcohol spectrum disorder as a 20-year-old term. Second of all, we actually pay up to 27-year-old free tuition, and board and care for foster kids. I'm not sure what kids information. 2022, BC United, BC Green, BC NDP all voted for decrim, harm reduction, harm reduction, and safe injection site. All I'm going to say right now, and you know what? I'm sorry. I'm just giving a point that I'm trying my best to hold it back. Our government has continued being consistent. We set conditions, and for those conditions to be fulfilled, then we'll have a discussion. That's what we've been doing. I only thing I want to say is, I hate to say this, Jackie, it sounds like your party leader to run for mayor for Richmond instead of actually probably British Columbia. Richmond has 22,000 people, 220,000 people. That's 4% of BC population. 4%. Assuming the party leader is going to be working with the whole province, they have to work with different regions, and simply promise something just simply for one city is unrealistic. What we need to do is actually have a government come out with a systematic conditions to work through. That's the reason why for the city, again, Councillor Yao, I really appreciate what you do right now. Because when Councillor talks about all those things, we try to match up. When we talk about 4 pillars, we've been increasing treatments. We've been just added 28 beds yesterday, 200 beds this year for treatments. We've been doing prevention work as well. We've been doing harm reduction. Our government did the biggest investment in public safety. You can shake your head, do your research. All I'm going to say right now is I didn't want to turn this into a partisan argument. I do want to say let's have a really healthy dialogue. Because what we're hoping to do is really just to educate the public and have a good opportunity, have a good healthy discussion. But I do want to say, if a format continues being like this, that you set a condition, I respect the condition and get disrespected by other participants. It's really hard for me to feel comfortable or safe to participate. And of course, I'm more than willing to turn the table and have this debate. Because I know what? If people ask me, do we consider about supporting harm reduction? Do we support decriminalization? The reality is our party has been consistent. As some conditions fulfills and we're working through, we will consider different conditions. At the same time, Richmond demonstrated over and over again that it has the lowest death rate. There's no need. We don't know why the city council brought up a polling in the first place. So our MLA worked quickly. Huh?
You guys supported it, that's, you know,
Yeah,
that's open fact.
And before she said I support it, hold on a second. Before she said support it, can you provide evidence, please?
That's so obvious.
Okay, then we have to behave ourselves, right? Because
So let's not
okay,
go in
Sorry about
there.
that. I'm sorry.
Let's not,
like
let's not give
even though we have different thoughts, right? But we want to make sure that we respect, people's opinions, right? This is what civilized people would
Can we
do,
give it
right?
to the audience
To the
instead of
audience,
giving them
Okay,
a-
so we only have one last motion. It's actually, sorry. Maybe we can do that.
Additional one.
Okay, it's not fair to give the mic to one person.
To hear the voice.
Yeah, it's
I'll
about.
keep it short. I'd like to bring the discussion back to the process. There are just 2 things I'd like to learn more from Chak and anybody who knows about the process. Number 1, what is the process that dictates certain things gets public consultation and certain things does not? Do we have to amend the bylaws at Richmond City to get that happen? And maybe City of Vancouver, anybody have experience from City of Vancouver? What did City of Vancouver do when they had set up these safe consumption sites before? What did they do back when they first set up the safe consumption site? I'm curious. I want to know if they actually have gone through some kind of public consultation at the City of Vancouver.
They did have public consultation, but no one listened.
The second thing I'd like to ask is really about the reversal of that decision.
Yeah.
Because you said if right now it's dead in the water, but it can be possibly picked up. So say, a year from now, I'm worried about that too, but say not a year from now, but say the government change, the re-election for the next group of councillor. Can 3 years, 5 years, forever in the future, the next group of councillors pick this up if Coastal Health asks them, say, hey, this is on your record, can you set up and the motion would automatically be passed?
Right.
Is this something that we have to work to reverse, or is it dead in the water forever? Right, so that's the two questions I would like to ask.
Good question. Yeah, good question.
So as I said, right, for some motions, we have to have mandatory public consultation. This is required by law, not by ourselves.
Which law? Provincial,
Provincial law. Yeah, we are under the community charter. And under this charter, which is the power given to us by the provincial government, and you can do this kind of thing, and you can do this kind of thing with consultations.
So if we need to require safe consumption site or any drug sites in any city in DC to require public consultation, that would have to be provincial level, and it cannot happen at the Richmond level.
Well, yeah, I mean, the short answer is yes. I think it has to go through the provincial government, because they changed the community charter to restrict us from not being able to proceed without public consultation on that kind of matter. Yes, the short answer is yes.
How about the motion reversal?
Now, going back to what you asked about Vancouver, I remember that about 20 years ago, when they first talked about the safe injection site in Vancouver, there was a public consultation process. And again, the city cannot do it all by themselves, just like in Richmond as well. Even if the city wants to do it, what they can do is to ask Vancouver Coastal Health to do it. So this is not something that we can initiate the request, but not the final decision.
But City of Vancouver might be different because they have their charter.
Yes,
and
that's true.
City of
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right. Now, going back to the question about the original motion, whether or not it's still valid. As I said, technically, the motion is still valid, right? Technically, but as I said, the city council has already made a statement, and so we have sufficient safeguard in the sense that if this is going to be revived, it is very difficult.
I understand.
And I would say that it will require a new motion to start it again. Because if you look at the chain of the events, so with the original motion, going forward, and then at the end we said that no, we are not going to do it anymore. So theoretically, there will be no further action on this original motion.
So let me ask
So
you.
if the same idea is going to be brought back, I can see only two ways. One is that Vancouver Coastal Health say that now based on data, they felt that there's a need for that kind of service. Then they have to take the initiation. So that's the one possibility. The second one is that some council member may in a later date felt that it's still needed. I think they have to start the process all over again, because a decision has already been made on that original motion. So technically it's still valid, but on the other hand, I see that the possibility is very, very slim.
I hear you. Just to follow up, even the mayor, in your opinion, the mayor cannot even override the decision and say, sorry, if the councillor, a new councillor or the existing councillor bring it up again, even the mayor would not have the power to override the motion to say this has passed already, so therefore it does not require another vote. In your opinion, it likely requires another vote, and likely the mayor cannot even override that.
And not even that a new motion. I think the new motion has to be different from the original motion.
Right.
Because if you have the same motion again, the mayor can say, we already made this decision that we're not going to pursue it further. So the new motion, if there's one, has to be different.
Has to be substantially different from this one.
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, I know this is technicality.
But because we're here to hear about the process, right? That's the process I want.
And I did ask the lawyer that the statement is pretty much making the whole motion dead in the water. I think Chak can agree with that.
Yeah, and we can find some safety. Yeah.
Chak, if you're the mayor next time, you may probably start a new process.
Okay, so actually, sorry, because we are running out of time, right? The community center will kick us out, because originally we booked till 6, but we already have half hour over time. So, I want to thank everybody who participating, and then behaving, probably next time when we really have a debate, I'll just off the dishes, go for it. And then, but today, we just want to make sure, and then we understand the process too. It's good that we have 3 different levels of representative that to help explain on the process. Okay, thank you guys, and then thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.